In this presentation, we will be taking a look at John Winthrop's sermon and what it means to be a city upon a hill. First, let's start off with a quote. Drawing upon the book of Deuteronomy, Winthrop stated, "Let us choose life that we and our seed may live, by obeying his voice and cleaving to him, for he is our life and our prosperity." Next, we'll take a look at the Puritans and their migration. The Great Migration was a period in which about 20,000 men, women, and children crossed the Atlantic to settle in New England between 1620 and 1640. The Puritans undertook this voyage and migrated to the New World in search of religious freedom. They believed they could establish a pure church in the colonies that would make a good model for the churches in England. They wanted to reform the Anglican Church and cleanse it of the remains of the hated Catholic religion. King James worked to restore relationships between the Puritan clergy and the Church of England. Next, let's take a look at John Winthrop. Winthrop was chosen to be governor of the Puritans, who decided to migrate to Boston to establish a new colony. He was hesitant to leave his homeland because of the knowledge of the Pilgrims in Plymouth. Winthrop later realized it was his calling from God to establish a holy community in New England. So eventually, John and the Puritans set off to colonize a modern Christian commonwealth that England and other countries would hopefully one day want to replicate. Next, we'll take a look at a model of Christian charity. A model of Christian charity was written in 1630 by Puritan leader John Winthrop. He gave this sermon while the first group of Puritan immigrants were on board their ship, the Arbella, waiting to disembark and colonize New England. The City Upon a Hill excerpt represents the Puritans' pridefulness that other colonies would idolize them and want to be like them. We're going to break down this document into bits and pieces so you can all get an understanding of what it's supposed to mean.
Now, we're going to talk about the avoiding the shipwreck. In the beginning of Winthrop's sermon, he says, "Now the only way to avoid this shipwreck and to provide for our posterity is to follow the counsel of Micah, to do justly, to love mercy, to walk humbly with our God." The shipwreck that Winthrop refers to is God's fury that falls on people who fail his will. Winthrop advises the people to carry out God's plan to create the perfect colony in the New World. He wanted a colony in which there is perfect unity and selfless qualities. Winthrop assures the Puritans that this quote does not mean they could never commit a mistake, but instead means God will walk with them through difficult times. Unity in the colonies. He states, "For this end, we must be knit together in this work as one man," meaning that this journey they are setting off on is as a unit, and they should continue as one, while loving one another and showing their patience and cooperativeness with one another. They will be facing many hardships together that will test their faith. Nothing will come out of being evil. They will need to be kind and love one another. In Ephesians 4:32, it does say, "Be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, as God in Christ forgave you." Now, although this quote is not directly referred to in his sermon, it does have a lot to do with his beliefs and the Bible, which, reflecting off of Winthrop's sermon, relates to his way of thinking and how he wants this colony to be formed. There will be no malice, but they will delight amongst each other. Religion will have come about naturally and won't be forced. Winthrop expresses how it should be something that stems from the pure faith of the Puritans and how they carry themselves. Now, what does it mean to be a city on a hill? In the sermon, it also says, "For we must consider that we shall be as a city upon a hill. The eyes of all people are upon us." This quote basically shows that the Puritans didn't come to settle and be perfect. They wanted to settle and be seen so that even if they did make mistakes, it was known and others would have to see them take it up with God. No one would want to live somewhere where their mistakes were made obvious and there for everyone to judge, but they believed in their God so highly that they felt they should be under microscopic view. City upon a hill is a biblical idea from Matthew 5:14, adopted by John Winthrop. A city upon a hill cannot be hidden and will be an example set to the world, proving that a society based on the devotion and obedience to God will be successful.